I think all of us have done some things that we would do differently. You're there for them in all seasons of life, only to discover that that's the person that is injurious towards you.
We always hear about church hurt. What you're telling me, you're explaining your sheep bite.
There is a thing called church hurt, but there's also a thing called pastor hurt. I saw my father, and I get emotional even thinking about how he went to the grave defeated. My father had his first stroke at 59. He got sick and he saw the church turn. Let me just say it like this, didn't treat him well during that season of his life. He died a defeated man. I said, everybody I get close to that's connected to ministry, most of the times I get hurt or betrayed. Don't hurt me. I said, at this age and stage, I don't know how much I can survive, you know.
I'd imagine there's a time that you would not hear an introduction that started with the word THE, the Clinton McFarland. You are indeed, man, that you have made your mark on gospel preaching like nobody else has. I'm not trying to boost you, you know, none of that kind of stuff. I remember I saw one post that you did. You were you'd been in 6 cities in 1 week. Something just wild. Man, thank you for being here.
Thank you, man. It's my delight to just sit and talk with you.
Tell me about yourself. Tell our audience about you. I'm most interested if you would encouch your journey from Mississippi. Is it Shubuta?
Shubuta, Mississippi.
Shubuta, Mississippi. Tell us about you all the way up until the point of Grace, the amazing church that I've had the privilege to preach in. Yeah, tell us about you.
Well, I am, first of all, a lover of God. I love people, and I absolutely love preaching. As you've already stated, I started my journey in Shubuta, Mississippi. I call it the backside of nowhere because it's a very small town of about 600 people. And that's where I was born and raised and grew up there and actually pastored my first church in that same county. Left there, went to Columbus, Mississippi. From Columbus, Mississippi to Metro Atlanta. And I guess from Mount Pleasant to Grace, the rest will be still charted.
Love it. The rest will still be charted.
Yeah.
I want to put a pin there. How would you define legacy?
I think that legacy is the gift that you give that keeps on giving. I think that legacy is not only that which is tangible, but also that which is intangible. A lot of times we think about legacy as it relates to endowments, businesses, homes, and all of that. But I think it's more in the realm of that which is intangible because there are persons who may not have the home or the endowment or the trust to leave, but just how they made people feel.
Yeah, there was a gentleman that we interviewed and I asked him that same question. He says, legacy is the footprints that you leave in the sand.
Wow.
Yeah, and I thought that was just so descriptive. And I love yours, though. I absolutely love yours and even your explanation. All right, so legacy conversations. Go back through your trail of how you got from Shubuta. Were you born in Shubuta?
Born and raised.
All right, to Grace. Can you pull out some of those gifts that keep giving? Can you pull out, maybe you've never looked at it like this, but some of the legacy moments, some of the legacy footprints, some of the some of the history that made an impact on you, because I don't believe the legacy can be established without it making an impact on you.
Mm-hmm.
But walk us back through that same progression. And if you can, pull out some of those moments or some of those impacts.
Well, I've been blessed, first of all, to pastor in several contexts. So you speak of, what I've left behind, because I view legacy also as not something that is left once you are gone, but it could be also at the end of a season, at the end of a church. So I started in Shubuta, Mississippi, at the John the Baptist Church, and those things that I was able to do in that rural context left a mark on them as well as me. 30-something years later, I still refer to them in so many instances because of what they did for me in my development, allowed me to grow and develop as it relates to pastoring, as it relates to dealing with people and dealing with the challenges of ministry. And then from there to Columbus, Mississippi, which was not a large town, but it was larger than Shubuta, Mississippi. Shubuta is where I was born. Shubuta is where I pastored my first church, same county. And so moving from there to Columbus, Mississippi, where, again, I was able to leave a mark in Columbus, built a 800-seat sanctuary, family life center, 32 classrooms, and really developed ministry-wise there in Columbus, and then on to Atlanta and doing those things that I'm doing at Grace now. So I would like to think that at the end of each season, I left something that can enhance someone's life, even though I'm gone.
How long were you in Columbus?
11 years.
And you were able to build that kind of building project? Yes.
I would like to say that Columbus is when I became Clinton McFarland.
Okay.
That guy that became notable or developed a certain degree of popularity because we had a national television ministry. This is before churches were streaming their services.
Yep. Okay.
We were on television. And so Columbus is really where I developed into who I am, I would like to think. Of course, I think I'm still developing and evolving and growing, but I think it's when I discovered that I can really do this thing.
So your confidence came along with...
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so was your confidence, did it match your character?
Sometime.
Say more. Say the part that you would care to say.
Well, I think character is what you do when the lights are turned off or when nobody is around. To be honest, sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. I think all of us have done some things that we would do differently. But the confidence was always there. And when I say confidence, I'm talking about confident. I was confident in my preaching ability and my pastoring. I knew that I could obviously impact a congregation from the pulpit. And then I knew that obviously God was using me to grow and develop a ministry.
All right. Did you finish your trek with Legacy Imprints up to Atlanta? Was there anything else you wanted to say?
No, that was
Okay. All right. So did the church in Shubuta grow?
Yes, it did, but not in a way you would think as it relates to numerically, not much growth there.
Okay.
As it relates to impact in the community, yes, we did.
Yes.
But you have to understand, so the town I was pastoring in, the population was only 300.
Oh.
So it's kind of hard to get blood out of a turnip.
Exactly.
It was not there.
Yep.
So, but we made a major impact in that community.
All right. So from 300 to Grace has how many? What
Grace has about 2,500.
About 2,500.
To 25 to 3,000.
Well, that's not how everybody else would count Grace, because when I was there, I couldn't see the back of folks. So I appreciate the truth in number that's there. I wish more preachers would tell truth, because we can put so much legitimacy in how many people we have, what our budget is, and, all those kinds of things. Okay, so you grew in impact, which I think is major. I think that's major. I think about Jamal Bryant. And when you look at the impact that he's made in the community, it far exceeds however many thousands that he sees on Sunday.
Yeah.
I think there's a principle that more churches need to embrace, that in order for the kingdom to be, thy will be done, thy kingdom come, then the kingdom has to be established somewhere. I'm going somewhere with these questions.
Mm-hmm.
Did you grow? So you grew in Columbus, clearly, building an 800-seat sanctuary. Columbus to Atlanta, was it Pleasant Hill?
Mount Pleasant.
Mount Pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How long were you there?
I stayed at Mount Pleasant 6 years.
Was there growth?
Yes, that was.
Okay.
That was growth. Mount Pleasant, we grew numerically there, and also in locations. It was at Mount Pleasant where the Lord blessed us to purchase a location in DeKalb County. Some of our members, or quite a few members, lived in that area, and we purchased a building on Snapfinger where Marlon Harris had at one time. And that grew. So we were experiencing phenomenal growth at Mount Pleasant.
Did you have an Atlanta campus?
We did.
And where was the Atlanta campus?
That's Southeast Atlanta.
All right, so we talking like Turner Field? I mean,
yes.
Okay, I got you. So you grew there.
We did.
Has Grace grown?
Oh, tremendously.
Yep.
Yeah, and right now we're experiencing tremendous growth. You know how churches grow in spurts?
Yep.
We're in one of those spurts right now with the growth.
All right. So here's my question. I bet you don't see this coming. Let me know if you do. I'll retract. Do you recognize an anointing to grow on your life?
I do.
Good.
I do.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. So that means that what you touch grows.
Yes.
Give me an area outside of ministry that is experiencing growth.
My marriage.
Yeah.
Really, my marriage, my relationship with Tamara, my wife, is growing. My relationship with people, I am, I won't say learning to love people more, but learning to embrace people more. I used to be the kind of person that didn't trust people.
Why?
Experience.
What kind of experience?
Hurt.
What kind
pain.
of hurt?
You've been a pastor.
Yes.
And you know how it feels to do everything you think you should do. Visit the sick, marry the young, hug people, you're there for them in all seasons of life. Only to discover that that's the person that is injurious towards you. That's a lot of hurt and pain. And so it adversely affects your level of trust. You don't want to trust because you don't want to sort of surrender your feelings or put your feelings out there to be hurt.
So we always hear about church hurt.
Mm-hmm.
What you're telling me, you're explaining your sheep bite. Yeah.
Yes, there is a thing called church hurt, but there's also a thing called pastor hurt, and I've experienced that. It's been 35 years
That you've been in ministry.
that I've been a senior pastor
Okay.
for 35 years.
Yeah.
And, it has done something to me. I have to intentionally continue to love because God said love, continue to interact because that's what God expects for us to do. However, you develop a degree of suspicion, especially those who get close to you.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you wanting to be around me?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you close to me? And I would assume and suppose that that's the prevailing thought of most pastors who have been in it for a certain length of time.
So have you just had to unwind that suspicion, or have you, I guess that's one, but have you healed from that?
I don't think so.
Mm. Why not? Why don't you think so?
Because the womb, somebody keeps striking the womb,
Yeah.
Every time it seems like it's about to heal, somebody hits it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you ever really heal in totality. I saw my father, and I get emotional even thinking about how he went to the grave defeated.
What does that mean? What does that look like?
Well, he was a pastor for 46 years, gave it all. And my father had his first stroke at 59. And when my father was strong, younger, he was the man in our rural context.
Mm-hmm.
Our church was shouting Hosanna, He was, Cleveland McFarland was the man. He got sick and he saw the church turn and neglect his emotions and what he was going through. Ultimately, he had to retire early because he was so accustomed to being the guy, and now I can no longer do it to this level, so I would just rather bow out and just let somebody else have it. But then the church, let me just say it like this, didn't treat him well during that season of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And, he died a defeated man.
I understand now.
I saw that the next 15 years of his life, how he suffered and struggled with the thought that I can give my all. And he literally did. Give my all to ministry only to be rejected when I really needed them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that is so common, unfortunately, in Black church. I'm not, that's my context.
Yeah.
So I'm not excluding anyone, but I know Black church in the sense and the ways in which I know Black church, that Dad used to say, he probably still says it. He says, I know Negroes are going to kill me. He said, but I'm going to have something to do about how I die.
Mm.
And I believe that curse needs to be broken.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because we're in a personality driven context, so if you're not going to be there and they know you're not going to be there, then they don't show up.
Yeah.
Which is, I think that's an immaturity
it really is
on their side. You about to say something else?
I just said it really is a personality-driven context, which is a double-edged sword.
Yep.
Because as long as your personality and your presentation,
But you're giving them.
yes, is to the point where it satisfies them, or you can give it to them like, I know it's going to come a day when I just feel like if I don't bow out at a certain time, there will come a day when what happened to my father just might happen to me. I never will forget, I was sitting with some friends who happened to be members of my church. And we were fellowshipping and just talking and having a good time. And something in the conversation moved me to say to them, don't hurt me. I said, don't. And they said, what are you talking about? I said, everybody I get close to that's connected to ministry, most of the times I get hurt or betrayed. And I just said, don't hurt me. I said, at this age and stage, I don't know how much I can survive, you know. Yeah.
Man, that is, that's a comment that I resonate with. Maybe not as succinct, but certainly in pain.
Yeah.
Certainly in experience multiple times. And I'll tell you, it has only been through repeated and regular therapy have I begun to heal from that kind of betrayal. Nothing feels worse than being betrayed.
Yes.
It's one thing to for you to have done your pastoral responsibilities and duties. And then, like, I remember it wasn't uncommon when we were pastoring more in a traditional sense that people would come, be a part of the church, listen for the baby dedication date. You dedicate their babies, and then they're out the door giving you the deuces. That's one. But then there's also that betrayal that can come from an inner circle, from people that you call family.
Yeah.
That people that look like family and y'all act like family, and you get hung out to dry. Why do you keep trying again? Why do you keep giving people another chance?
Well, I think inevitably we all, you know, there's a song that says, as long as I got King Jesus, I don't need anybody else. That's a lie.
Yes.
We are created for human interaction.
Yes.
I don't care if you're a pastor. I don't care if you're a physician. I don't care if you're a plumber. We are not designed to live this life in isolation. And so I know I need people. I need to laugh. I need to let my hair down. I need to interact. And so either I'm going to, you know, become a monk or a hermit, or I'm going to continue to live life. And you can't love if you cannot put yourself in a position to be hurt.
When we first got married, Alicia and I, you know, every couple, especially new couples, trying to wrap their arms around marriage, you know, the surgical process of two becoming one has happened, but the bandages are still there and you're waiting to figure this thing out. And I never will forget our therapist said, you've been trusting in the wrong direction. What do you mean? Because Alicia had something against, a suspicion against therapists. I'd had therapists since Dad got divorced. And that was, I so appreciate him with that.
Yeah.
Since my parents got divorced, Dad knew there was going to be an impact on us. And so he got us that. But she was like, I'm not telling somebody about how I feel. Now, she's the one that makes the appointments. We live by it. And our therapist said, you've been trusting the wrong direction. He says, you've been trusting out. He says, but you have to trust to God first and trust that whomever he brings in your life, that they're for a reason. And sometimes that the reasons why God picks don't make sense. as we're walking it out, but we are still trusting, and that we're still trusting God. I have been invited into some intimate and personal space, my wife and I, with you, and probably shouldn't say much more than that. You and your wife. Let me just say that.
We've had good times together. We'll put it like that.
Yeah. More than once have we had that invitation. Let me just say, thank you for trusting us. Thank you for trusting me and my wife to be in that space. It was important to us. It was important to us that you and your wife invited us there.
It was important to us as well. And of course, we value the relationship. And, we feel safe because number one, we know you guys. But secondly, we know that you are and have been where we are and have been as it relates to needing to trust and needing to fellowship. Yeah, so we thank you.
Well, thank you for your thanks. Thank you for your thanks. There is a mentor. He's no longer in our life actively, but there was a mentor that said, he reserves the right to be highly editable. So with you, I'll show you this much. With my wife, she gets 98%. A member, it might be 25%. Some members, as far as I can throw you. It's my responsibility to pastor you.
That's wise.
Yeah. So when you're with other friends, other preacher friends, that you have a relationship, maybe somebody you've preached for more than once, maybe somebody you've gone out to dinner with, what do you think your percentage is? And it could vary, but in a averaging kind of way, what percentage do you give yourself in a situation like that?
I've never thought about it like that. However, I am very careful because you spoke about ministers, and I have to be honest and say sometimes that's where you really have to be careful.
They're part of the betrayal.
Yeah.
You're trying to protect the brotherhood.
Of course. So I don't know. You said with your wife, 98%, others 25. I would probably say even less than 25.
Okay.
Because, and then I think it's predicated upon the length of time that we've been acquainted and we've been in certain settings. But if it's an initial setting, 10%.
You got to read them.
Oh, man.
Yep.
I do read the Bible.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all we talk about. That's it.
Does it change with Tamara if it's you all both? My wife is the discerner.
I was going to say Tamara is more cautious than I am.
Really?
Yes. She's more cautious. Sometimes she will say to me, okay, baby, watch what you say, watch what you do, that kind of thing. So it doesn't change much with her, but I think she's more cautious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. How much are you leaving on the table by editing yourself so much? Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask the question first. I kind of have a JW bit about myself. And you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, perfectly.
I kind of have that. But there's this part of me that I made the commitment that I'm just going to be authentic. Look, here I am. Either you like it or you don't like it. Now, sometimes, you got to dial it back for whatever reason. We were filming a podcast on yesterday and, I could feel myself because I knew these are my partners and I knew them, but I had to remind myself of who's going to see this. So I kind of had to dial the edit back.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, I think it's wise, but I also don't want to not be true, double negative. I don't want to not be true to myself. And so what I present to you, you're getting plus or minus 10% of what I am, of who I really, really am. But that costs me something sometimes. It costs me in the betrayal factor. It costs me in my mental space. I've sat in some places and said, I wish I could say blah. Our wives just don't get it all the time.
Yeah.
How much is it costing you to leave authenticity on the table?
I think it's based upon the situation. If I leave authenticity where authenticity is needed, then it costs not only me, but it costs the person who's at the table. I don't think authenticity is always or shouldn't always be required. And here's what I mean. I don't think everybody deserves
I agree.
My authenticity. I think that's something you need to earn. Because what I define authenticity is, I define it as I can show you me without you throwing what you see back in my face or divulging or disclosing what I showed you. So did you earn the authenticity that you expect from me?
So important.
Yeah. So.
All right. So how would you equate that to legacy?
That's a good question.
And I'm not going to talk to fill up the space.
Well, of course, legacy, again, is what you leave behind. How I would equate that to legacy, I've never thought about that. That is quite profound. But I think that in time, if I am who I am, it will all fall in place. As the old folks said years ago, you'll understand it better by and by. I guess that's about the best way I can put that.
Yeah.
I've never thought about that.
Me either.
Yeah.
The question just came up.
Yeah. I've never thought about that.
You're such a master with words, and you've had to get yourself out of, I know, some spaces, and you did
It's called
again.
deflecting.
Right. I'm going to try to take a shot at what you just said.
Okay.
I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. The legacy that portion of you will remain a mystery. And tell me if you disagree, but I think that's important. I think that even the being guarded, having to sometimes even heal yourself, learn who to trust, measure the percentage of what people get. I think that is so important. And
Very much so.
I think it's important because there should be boundaries. And I think that the lesson, man, if some of this stuff that I've learned at 53, the time of this recording, I wish I had known sooner. I wish I wouldn't have jumped out as that innocent kid that I grew up as, that was sheltered, that went to predominantly white schools, that was guarded a whole bunch by my parents because of dad's visibility. Man, I wish I had learned some of these things then, because maybe the pain wouldn't be as deep or as memorable. And so for me, man, this is really coming into focus. We have tried to teach our kids similarly. And I'm kind of even at a loss for words, because if I'm trying to associate what I proposed to you, I'm really interested in what you're going to say. That's a footprint that's important in what you create, because if that is derailed, my legacy may not have may not be as solid as I'd like it to be. But if I had somebody that could show me how to navigate that space, not that it would not be, I think that God will give more other ways, but I sure would feel that the biblical concept of boundaries would have muted some of those opportunities. What would you say to my ramblings, my musings?
It's your rambling.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, some in that, but I think it's different for different personalities as it relates to how we want to navigate that.
I agree.
Yeah.
What do you disagree with? I'm learning from my big brother.
What you were saying about your father sheltering you from certain things, and maybe you wouldn't deal with the pain or have dealt with so much pain. I think pain is inevitable, regardless to whether you were sheltered or whether you were put out there. I think that sheltering to some degree is a good thing.
I agree. I agree with that.
Because there are some things that a 53-year-old Jasper can process correctly that a 13-year-old Jasper may not be able to process. And it may adversely impact your life at 13 when at 53, no problem.
Yep. Totally agree with you. Appreciate you pushing back in the space that you did. Even still healing from some of those wounds. Heard somebody say one time that dead men don't say ouch. So that has been a litmus test for myself. How do I feel when it is familiar? Which helps me know what I need to work on.
Yes, indeed.
Mac, you've had some moments like all of us have that we are regret might be a way or would have done it in a different way. Tamara is what wife? Is she your
second?
She's your second wife. What happened to the first one? Why did the first marriage end?
Well, of course, I can give it to you from my perspective. If you were to ask her, she may would say something totally different. I believe that there are three sides to every story. My side, her side, and then the truth is somewhere in the middle. But since you asked me, in just a few words, we grew in different directions. Amos 3:3 says, how can two walk together unless they agree? The New Living Translation says, on the direction. And the reality is that we no longer agreed on the direction after 16 years of marriage, the pressures of pastoring, and so many pressures of ministry. One day she just told me, I don't want to be a pastor's wife any longer. I have no identity. Everybody knows me as Mrs. McFarland, and I'm thinking to myself, that's not so bad, you know?
Right.
You know, but they don't know my name. They know me as Mrs. McFarland, and I just don't want to do this anymore. And so, of course, I had two options: leave the pastorate, or maybe we can't be together. But I tried and tried and tried because we had children together, and I genuinely loved her. I did not want a divorce. I felt that we could work through anything, but it takes two. We went to therapy, and it got so bad in the therapy until the therapist said, I think y'all need to separate. It was just that bad. So
was the marriage already tanking?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. We married young, first of all. So
how old were you?
I was 22, she was 18, which is ill-advised.
Yeah, nobody know what they do.
Right. And the reality is the Clinton I became was not the Clinton I was at 22. The drive, the desire, the push. I was very aggressive and progressive as it relates to ministry, as it relates to leaving a mark. And so I changed. I admit that. The woman she was at 18, she was not the woman, 10, 12 years later.
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell people, I think that it would be wise for a woman to be in her late 20s and a man early 30s, because you don't know what you will become.
Mm-hmm.
But again, because of that, she wanted out. Mm-hmm. I thought we could fix it. She didn't. Mm-hmm. And finally,
the therapist agreed.
the therapist, now that was funny.
Yeah.
It was hurtful, but funny at the same time.
Right.
When I look back in retrospect, she said, I think it would be best for you all to separate. I'm like, wow. She said, because what you're doing is you're injuring each other.
Yeah.
You're constantly injuring each other, and I don't see any solution with the way you guys are going.
Point of wisdom here, and I'll come back to my wife and her as a woman. Who picked the therapist?
I did.
And your wife
didn't want a therapist. She did not want to go to therapy.
I see oftentimes.
I wanted to go.
I see oftentimes women or men have some kind of disposition towards one or the other. So if I pick the therapist, then I pick one based on my slant. If it's a male, if it's a female, or whatever. What advice would you give someone? I appreciate you picking the therapist, and to me, it buttresses everything you've said regarding you wanted the marriage, you felt like you could fix it, all of those kinds of things. I appreciate that as a man, because so often, not all the time, men are like, you know what? Let me just, you going to do what you're going to do, and that's all right. Where I sign.
Yeah.
What would you tell a young pastor?
Let me say this. I appreciate the pat on the back. However, I resorted to selecting a therapist because we had no more hope. I wanted the marriage. I probably would not have gone to therapy either if we could have resolved the issue. Now, your question, what advice would I give to young pastors who are married? Okay, I have a physician that she's been my physician, as you well know, for 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
Every year I go twice a year for a checkup. Nothing's wrong, hopefully. But I don't go because something's wrong. I go for a checkup. And so here's what I would advise all couples to do. Don't wait until something is wrong before you go to get a checkup. Because what if you go and something is wrong, but if you didn't go, you would not have discovered it. I'm a cancer survivor. We caught it early because of a checkup, a physical, just going to make sure everything is all right. And people normally go to therapy when it's about over. And that's what I did. It was over, and now I'm ready, to go.
So, didn't mean to be rude if it came across that way, but Henry Cloud has this thing about hope. I'm gonna call it hope in the wrong direction. I'm just gonna read this. Dr. Henry Cloud views hopelessness not as a purely negative state, but as a crucial, liberating, and sometimes necessary virtue that occurs when one finally abandons false hope regarding a situation that cannot change. And I think that our Christianity and us being bibliocentric, the hope against hope, I think that we can hold on to that.
Yeah.
And I do believe there's a time and a place and a space When I look at this is what I was experiencing when mom and dad got divorced. I was always praying that they were going to get back together. But even in this, it's saying that yes, there's a virtue in it, but regarding a situation that cannot change. And I'm going to tie what you just said, to walk in the same direction that you have to be agreed to walk in. And mom and dad weren't agreed. We're not in agreement to walk in that direction. And I hope that a young preacher, a young woman, a young businessman, a young man, whoever it is, an older woman, let's repeat those, that they do realize that your chances are better when you start sooner. To use the illustration, twice a year, you catch something early. We've always done that. In sweet times, we still go get a check out.
That's good.
And in hard times, we just stay in the doctor's office.
Yeah.
because love is not without pain.
Of course.
And
challenges.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to my sweet and darling wife, she's just been amazing. And she's certainly one of a kind. She has been there through thick and thin, through my mental health challenges.
That's awesome.
She's been the constant encourager. She has many times put me and the kids on her back. And I am grateful that I did not have to experience what you and your wife did. I'm grateful that our children did not have to experience what your children did.
Yeah.
But it's because we were walking in the same direction.
Yeah.
And we were agreed on it.
And you were intentional about maybe your parents going through the divorce helped you to understand the need to be intentional about your marriage.
That was my biggest fear when I got ready to propose to her. We've been married 28 years.
Wow.
Come March. My biggest fear is that our marriage was going to end in divorce and the kids will have to be raised without both parents in the house. That was my biggest fear. So to your point, I think I have by default worked harder on having and promoting a healthy marriage.
Yes.
And raising our kids in the way in which they've been raised. All right, Mac, I got to ask you, and this might be hard for you. Maybe not. I don't know how vocal you've been about this. You said you and your wife had children.
Yeah.
How many children did you all have?
I had 2.
Age, how far apart?
Now my daughter is 33. My son is 28.
Okay.
They're 5 years apart.
Are they close?
Not right now. Not right now.
Let me tell you the question I want to ask you. Just shake your head. No. Can you tell me why?
Maybe something to do with me. I really don't know. I honestly, I don't want to say what I want to say.
I understand. And that's why I gave you permission and I took a liberty, because that could be very, very, if the question would ask of me and my brother, I probably would have a similar answer.
Let me say it like this. When one is close to me, the other is not.
Yes. I was going to ask you if you favor one or the other.
I don't think I do. I love both.
But the interpretation is on their side.
Yeah. Let me see, how can I say this to help somebody?
Only reason.
I think it's incumbent upon both parents when a divorce occurs to be affirming concerning the other parent. Okay? So if, let's say hypothetically, if my daughter was not speaking to her mom, but she's speaking to me, I think it's my job to say to my daughter, wait a minute, that's your mother.
I agree.
And regardless to what's happened, that's your mother.
Yep.
You should work this thing out. And I think that it behooves both parents to do that. In my case, I don't think that happens. I know I do. I would not allow either of my children to have a problem with their mom to the point of no communication.
Mm-hmm.
I would do everything I can.
Saying a lot, sir.
Yeah.
So they're not speaking. How long had you all been married?
16 years.
Before they were born?
Oh, we were married 2 years before my first child. 7 years before the second child.
Is it safe to imply that, based on what you just said, that you have a good relationship with the child that is closer to you?
Now, my son and I have a very good. Now, at first, it was my son and I who were not. I won't say. Well, he wasn't speaking to me. I was speaking to him. I was trying. I'm a father. Let me say this. I love my babies. Love them, love them, love them, love them. And I always wanted. I'm envious of people, if that's a word I can use in the Christian context. I'm envious of people who have a great relationship with their children, because I've gone so many years where I've missed crucial moments and developmental periods. It's my job to help my children develop. My son to become a man, my daughter to know how a man should treat her. But when you are blocked out or locked out, and I had those periods for whatever reason, I don't know. I don't want to say.
Mm-hmm.
But it was not for the lack of trying.
Mm-hmm.
And thank God for my wife, Tamara, who kept me encouraged through all of that, you know,
yeah,
because she knows how I feel about my children. So my son and I, we have a great relationship. I have a beautiful granddaughter. I just married him and his wife. Performed the wedding. We get along. Son called me yesterday. And that relationship is good. A daughter and I are not even on speaking terms right now. And that bothers me. It really does. So I guess in all of this, that's been the biggest hurt that I've had to deal with.
And preaching doesn't take the hurt away.
Oh, of course not. Preaching intensifies the hurt, because I'm telling everybody else
what to do.
You know, get your family together, you know, and family is everything.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I've been transparent to some degree with my congregation, and my congregation, they've prayed for me. They know how I feel. But preaching doesn't help, and it certainly doesn't solve all of our issues. The Gardner Taylor said the audacity of the preacher is that he himself is in need of what he's preaching more so than the people to whom he preach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's my reality.
I used to think it was noble to preach through the problem. But then I start realizing that you might as well, I mean, that could be akin to someone else turn to drugs, turn to women, turn to liquor.
Yeah.
Because it only lasts but for so long. And then now you got to go back and, you know, realize how much it took from you. And, you know, they got the blessing, but you didn't get the blessing.
I tried it. When I was going through divorce,
mm-hmm.
I tried it. I tried to preach through it. I thought that was my therapy to some degree, because it did give me a momentary reprieve.
Mm-hmm.
But cry like a baby once I get back in the office.
Wow.
And really, sometimes in the pulpit, I never will forget, I was preaching for this guy, and I was in the throes of this thing. And man, I preached and I was preaching, and he could tell what was going on, and all of the pain just started coming out, and I'm preaching, and the crowd was loving it because they were just falling. But he knew, and he came to the pulpit and sat me down, and he just was patting me on the back. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. And so I tried that. I think that healing has to be intentional.
I don't want to skirt over your mother. So this and one more thing, and then we'll be done. The one more thing will be hopefully lighter. Heard about your dad. Heard about what he took to the grave. How important was your mother? Was it a 50-50 thing? I know that, daddy's baby, your mama's boy, how much input did your mother have? How responsible is she for who I'm sitting across talking to?
As a preacher, my father is probably 80% responsible. As a person, my mother.
Great way to put it.
My mother is why I'm the preacher like my dad, but I'm the person like my mom. And my mom, thank God she's still living, is one of the most wonderful people you could ever meet. But my dad was gone a lot, like your dad, of course, in that rural context. And I was blessed because I was his musician.
You can play, Clint?
Oh, yeah. Organ, keyboards.
Really?
Yeah, man.
When was the last time you sat down?
About 50 years. You don't want to hear me now.
Okay, all right.
Okay, trust me.
You bet.
But I was his musician, and I went with him a lot. So I gleaned a lot from him, but it was mostly preaching. But my mother, wow. She really raised her children with compassion and love, and just really guided us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing with me. I never would have looked at it like the bifurcation that you gave, but I hear it, I understand it, and I see it. And I've always known I was more like my mother when it came in personality. And my mother's can be a bit dubious and likes playing games and, whatever. Dad is more straight cut. So, and then gaining the preaching, Dad would let me travel with him. As long as I was not in school, I could go wherever he went, wherever he went. So the same way, being marked by him as a preacher, even though I don't think our styles now resemble each other. I don't think that, but he's responsible even for that, helping me find my own voice. Final question. Won't he do it?
Yes, he will.
Where'd that come from, Matt?
Wow. With the birth of Grace.
And Grace is 12 years?
Grace is 11 years. We celebrated 11 years in November.
Okay.
With the birth of Grace, so when I started Grace, so I told you Mount Pleasant had 2 locations.
Yep.
So one of the locations I started.
The DeKalb one?
In DeKalb County.
Okay.
So I offered to purchase that location. From Mount Pleasant.
Okay.
Okay. Because I knew that most of those people probably would follow me.
Yep.
And I didn't want to leave the burden on the church.
So sensitive.
Okay. So, and of course, the deacons and trustees agreed. Somewhere in the process, that all changed. And so it left us without a place. And we were worshiping at the Port of Sanford.
What was the issue? Why did you have to leave Grace? Can it be public? Excuse me. Why'd you leave Mount Pleasant? What was the conflict?
Okay. You're digging, but that's good. because I don't mind sharing this. And you're good at it too. Oh man, I'm gonna tell your daddy on
you. Brought it up, so you gave me another.
Well, I didn't bring that part up.
You brought up about going to the cab and buying the church and want to buy it, which gave me 1,000 questions.
Which moved you to ask me why did I leave Mount Pleasant? Okay. Well,
all right.
Hey,
you brought the topic
so let
up.
me let me tell you. Well, God told me to leave, and this is not the spiritual answer. This is the truth.
I'm the same.
Now,
yep. My testimony.
Mount Pleasant was a great place for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it was. We were growing. They loved my preaching. They loved my personality. I'm not sure they really loved my approach to ministry or pastoring. I followed a guy who was there for 50 years. And we speak of legacy and the conflict that it sometimes can cause, because I think that senior ministers think that they should preserve legacy, and younger ministers think that they should progress.
Yeah.
You know. And so I better not go into that. But anyway, so I had about four deacons who were giving me problems out of 22. I was going to get rid of them. In the process, God said to me, don't get rid of them. You leave, take your people, move forward, and I'm going to prosper you. I'm like, okay, God, what do you mean? He said it again. You move, take your people, move forward, and I'm going to prosper you. I said, so you mean start a storefront? Start a church? And so now I'm like, do you know who I am, Lord? I'm Clinton McFarland. I mean, you're talking about me with a storefront and leaving all of this? And so sort of the pride got in the way, but I yielded. Finally yielded. And so I walked away from it and started Grace. And that's the real reason. Nobody ran me away, not any insurmountable situations or anything like that. Just did. And a lot of times people can't understand that.
That's me. That's me. God said it. I mean, is that clear? Is that clear?
Yeah.
I was getting ready to inherit Salem, and I was spending money.
Listen.
Like I was going to
We all, listen, let me confess something.
Yep.
When you left Salem, I was like, you got to be kidding. He's going to leave all of this. Yeah. But I now understand that what God wants for your ministry is more important than what you want or someone else. Mm-hmm. And so people said that to me when I left Mount Pleasant. Man, you got 3 services. Yeah. You have 2 locations, great salary. Mm-hmm. People were joining and connecting, and you're going to just walk away from it. Mm-hmm. So I didn't even understand it. My wife didn't understand in the beginning until the Lord, and I told my wife, I said to God, if I'm to do this, you have to settle it in my wife's heart. Mm-hmm. Because we came as a team, we're leaving as a team. Yep. And he did, to the point where when I was going to back out, she reminded me of what God said.
Wow. What a wife.
What a wife. And so you ask about won't he do it? Mm-hmm. So we were hurt because we didn't get that building. Mm-hmm. So we
didn't want to sell it to you?
There were some things that happened that...
you didn't get the building.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, church vote. You understand? So then we had to go to a Seventh-day Adventist church, and it was in that building because we were praying. Okay, God, my hands are lifted. Y'all point down the street, to the building. Right. We are decreeing and declaring we're going to get our building. Yep. Not knowing what God was setting me up for. Mm. His ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. So I'm preaching one day in a 7-day Adventist church. We were using it every week. And trying to keep the people encouraged. And so out of nowhere, I said, I got one question. And can I ask one question?
And
when I said that, and then I said, won't he do it? And I did it with a tune, Yeah. And the crowd went crazy.
Yep.
And so that was it for me. I did this. It's good.
Yeah.
I'm in Los Angeles preaching a citywide revival. And I preached first night, didn't ask the question. Because it had gone viral.
Yeah, they were waiting.
Second night I didn't. And so one guy, and so they was hollering, they was shouting, "What's the question, Doc? What's the question?" And I couldn't figure out what they were talking about.
Yeah.
And so I went to lunch that last day before the last night.
Yeah.
And a guy said, "Man, you've not asked the question." I said, "Doc, what question? Won't he do it?" Ever since then, everywhere I go,
you ain't stopped.
I've not stopped.
Can I ask my question? Can I ask you a question? That is, you set them up so pretty. Then you hit that thing.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
man.
you so very much for sharing a bit of your story. I know what you said will help ministers, the older ones, the elder and the younger. I think it's going to go far, even further than that. But we as preachers don't really get a chance to see some of the failures, to see behind the veil.
Yeah.
Oftentimes you just think that you're here. They see the Clinton McFarland.
Yeah.
But there's a whole lot that made Clinton McFarland. And his legacy will live on, not just by the question, but by so many other areas that you've had to triumph over. And even some of the areas that you, like your marriage, like your kids.
Yeah.
You got anything coming up that you can tell us about?
I have a book that I'm finishing now entitled Journey to Grace.
Yeah.
Now, it's not about Grace Church, but it's about the grace, the favor of God. Yeah. In fact, I think I'm going to name it Journey to Favor.
Ooh,
and it's a 40-day journey to the favor of God, accessing the favor of God that's already in you.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times people think that favor can be bestowed upon a person through the laying on of hands. But I believe every person born is born with the favor of God in them. However, what's in them may not be on them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it has to be accessed, and then you can operate in it. So that's what this book that I probably will be finishing in the next couple of months. I've been working on it for 3 years.
I remember when I called you, right when we were transitioning, you told me that when I called you, I'm surprised that you took the call because of where you were. Not you ever not taking the call, return me back, but you were away working on that book.
I was.
I cannot wait for that book to be birthed. And if it's not already up on the screen, I'll make sure that it gets put up because I want to point people in that direction. Favor is a word that many people love to resonate with. And I'm sure that this journey is going to be something that people love.
And it is a journey.
Yeah.
It is a journey.
Yeah.
And I look forward to, expanding on that subject, of course, if I get that opportunity.
You talk about trust. Trust has to be earned.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it comes to your heart and marriage and not just people, the marriage that was ending or that ended, you're married now. What did you do? How was it? Are you yet open now? Is your heart, how'd you learn to love again?
Well, I think that's a great question because I don't think it was anything I did per se. I think it has a lot to do with God and the person that I'm with, my wife, Tamara. When I went through the divorce, I really vowed, number one, to never marry again. I'm not going to go through this pain ever again. And I vowed to never give a woman my heart, or anybody for that, you know. And so when I met Tamara, the first thing is I was transparent with her about what I had gone through. On the first date.
Really?
Yes. On the first date, I just, poured my heart out to her, what I had been through. And I think she was able in some way to take that and process it to the point where she nursed me back to health. And how can I not love her?
Yeah.
Because of how she approached it. She didn't take my heart and stomp on it. She really nursed me back to health, and now I can love again, and I do love. You've met my wife, so
she's a beautiful person.
She is inside and outside, and
she stays. She stays. I don't want to be offensive when I say this, but she's easy to look at.
That she is.
You should smile, and I know you do every time. Tamara, keep doing what you're doing, girl.
And like the song said, she's easy to love.
Oh,
she has such a genuine spirit, and I know I don't want to stay on this too long, but
Doc, is your wife there as long as you?
Oh, but that's just how I feel.
Yeah.
Not only with my emotions, but even with the things that I've been through with my children, with my church, with so many areas of my life. She has this calming presence, and
don't you know I know?
Yeah, she loves me and makes me just want to love her more.
What I hear is a very common, I don't want to say common, what I hear is power. I hear that you cannot love again until you feel safe again. I remember there's, actually it happened more than once that my wife and I have had to deal with that trust factor. And it hadn't been because of adultery or any of those other kind of common things, but the hurt that was placed. You keep giving, and somebody keeps taking and hitting that same spot. Your openness, I assume, I'm not trying to put words to your mouth, is what causes or caused you to experience love again. Is that right?
It is absolutely right. But I don't think I was open. I think she opened me.
But you had to be willing.
Well, she's so pretty.
Case, really?
I was willing to give it a chance. And let me say this. Tamara certainly played her part, but God also played his part. God loves me so much until I was in a city preaching a convention in Orlando, Florida, to pastors only. And when my assignment was over, I just hung around in the lobby and saw Tamara. She was not in the setting where I was preaching. I saw her, and I was talking to this pastor when she and her friend walked past us. I said, "Hey, man." I said, "Doc." I said, "Who is that?" And he said, "Well, which one?" I said, "They both are beautiful, but," I said, "that's Shorty." He said, "Oh, man, I know her, man. She uppity." I said, "What do you mean by that?" People try to talk to her. She won't talk to nobody and such and such. And he kept saying she's uppity. So finally,
it's your challenge.
Yes. And so finally, I said to him, "I'm not going to hold anything against you that you've said prior to this, but be careful what you say from here on out, because that woman right there is going to be my wife." And he was like, yeah, right. Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
And so, long story short, I couldn't get to her then because somebody had blocked my path. So I went to church again that night. Wasn't planning on going to church no more.
Looking for her.
Yeah, looking for her. Went to the service, saw her in the praise team. I'm sitting in the back. So they did the praise and worship, and then they left out. I left out.
They're gone.
Didn't hear a sermon. Don't know who preached, didn't care.
Yeah.
I left out.
Yeah.
And I approached her, and my God, she was cordial but uppity.
Doc, what was your opening line? You can't live us like that. How'd you?
Well, she was in a group with some more ladies.
Yes.
And so I stepped in the group. I said, hello, ladies. How are you doing? We're doing fine. I said, do y'all mind if I speak with this young lady right here for a moment? And Tamara was like, oh, me? I said, yes. Can I just speak with you a moment? She said, okay. And so she stepped away, and I introduced myself and just tried to, get her to talk to me, but she was not interested.
Really?
At all. And I wanted to tell her, do you know who I am?
Look, you told God that, and you told your wife.
I wanted to, baby, I'm on TV. And but she had no idea of who I was. That was a good thing.
Alicia's the same way.
Oh, yes. And I so appreciated that.
Nothing about that.
And then I so appreciated that she was not overwhelmed by my interest in her, as I saw with so many, other ladies that were interested in me at the time. So we didn't hit it off that night at all. Mm-hmm. Now that you ask, I got to tell you my story.
Please.
All right.
It's gonna be good.
I went to my room, couldn't sleep. So about 6 a.m, I called.
How did y'all end that encounter? Her being uppity, nice.
Very good. I said to her, can I speak with you? Can I talk with you? Can we communicate? And then after she would give me no play, I said, well, do you mind me asking you how old are you? She said, I'll be 32 tomorrow. I said, oh, your birthday is tomorrow.
Opportunity.
I said, let me take you to dinner tomorrow night for your birthday. She said, no, I don't think so. My girlfriends, they're going to take me tomorrow. And so after trying, I said, well, listen, hey, it's been great talking with you. Hopefully I'll see you around. And she left, and I went to my room, and I couldn't sleep. So I woke up early that morning. I called the pastor that I preached for in Houston, Texas. I say, man, listen, I met this girl. She's from Texas. Do you know her? And so I explained to him. He said, I don't know her, but I do know her friend. I said, are they rooming together? He said, yeah, I think they're rooming together. I said, is it in the host hotel? Yes, it is. I said, that's all I need. Give me the friend's name. I called the front desk and asked for Tanya's room. That's a friend. Can you ring her room? They rung the room, and then Tamara answered the phone, trying to get it straight. She answered the phone. I said, can I speak to Tanya? She said, sure you can. I told Tanya, I said, hey, Tanya, my name is Clinton McFarland. I'm the guy who was trying to talk to Tamara last night. I said, I understand that the day is her birthday. She said, yes. I said, listen, I'm not a stalker, but I need your room number because I want to send flowers to the room. And Tanya was like, oh, that's nice. And so she did that, ordered the flowers. They were not coming until the evening, but I wanted to see if she was going to be at the noon service. Mm-hmm. So I went to the noon service.
Not supposed to preach.
Not supposed to preach. Didn't even have another suit. Mm-hmm. I had to put on the suit from the first day, but that's all good. Went, saw her at church. Church is over. She's standing over here talking. to some ladies. The photographer for the convention steps up to her and Tanya and said, "Can I take you guys, you ladies' pictures for the convention paper?" Tamara said, "No, I don't think so." He said, "Well, look, just stand over here until your friend finished talking. Let me take your picture." I saw her standing over there by herself, waiting on Tanya. I walked up to her, put my arm around her, told the photographer, "Take our picture." I said, "Don't we make a cute couple?" And an old lady was standing around. She said, "Ooh, y'all sure do." Tamara laughed. I said, "I got her."
Click, game. Oh, y'all.
We went, I said, after we took the picture, I said, "Okay, let me start over. My name is Clinton McFarland." I said, "I'm not married. I'm not a murderer. I'm not a rapist." I said, "By the way, happy birthday." She said, "Oh, you remembered?" I said, "Of course I did." I said, "Now listen, I need to take you to dinner tonight. And I'm really not going to take no for an answer." And finally she said, "Okay." Went to dinner. Man, listen, best night of my life. We talked. Went back to the hotel. She went up and changed. I went up and changed. Came back to the lobby. And we talked until 4 that morning.
Yeah. Those kind of love stories.
Oh, my God.
Absolutely love.
Yeah.
Look how you smiling.
Oh.
Look how you smiling, Doc. You showing off 32.
Almost 18 years later, 19 with dating.
Yes.
We're still just as happy.
Praise God.
She's still nursing me.
Yeah. Thank you for trusting me with your story. And I'm sure I speak on behalf of the audience that have seen this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate your transparency. You shared things years ago about the mental
health,
mental wellness, mental illness.
Yep.
And you share things that a lot of guys would have never shared. And I think talking to you creates the environment where transparency can thrive. Because the reality is that people need our transparency because they are quietly going through the same thing. And so I thank you for creating that environment. Thank you for what you do. And it's been my absolute delight sharing with you.
Thank you. That goes both ways.